from Unique in the Creek. Today I'm going to show you how to make a very simple Christmas tree with the Unique in the Creek triangle board. We're going to be using 2 rolls of green deco mesh, 10-inch rolls by 10 yards. They have a little strip of metallic going through it, and I really love this color. I think it's called an moss apple with lime foil. Beautiful for a Christmas tree. You're not going to use completely both of them, but you do need more than one, so have 2 rolls ready. You're also going to need 1.5-inch roll of ribbon. I picked this pretty plaid because I'm going to be also adding this really cute truck sign to my Christmas tree. This is just a tin sign, but it's really cute, and the red truck is so popular. And as you can see, the ribbon and the sign match beautifully, but still keeps it nice and traditional. Okay, so we'll just put to the side because this will be used at the very end. You'll also need some kind of bow maker. Now, if you purchased our kit, you have what's called the kids bow maker. The bow maker you will be using for the top of your Christmas tree to make the bow. And in this bow maker, this is a very simple bow maker. It's used to make kids bows, but we can use it for larger bows as well. And it does come with an instruction booklet on all kinds of different types of bows you can make. If you do plan on making more wreaths, you may want to invest in the next size up of the Easy Bow Maker. But for now, this is perfectly suffice for you to make your bow for the top. You're also going to need zip ties, 18-pound zip ties. In the kit, you will have 100 of them, which is plenty to do this project. You'll also use clothespins. I always keep a couple handy. Wire nippers or wire cutters. These come in your kit. These are to cut the zip tie tails, because if you use your good ribbon scissors, they're going to dull really fast. So you don't want to do that. So just use your nippers to snip off the ends of the zip ties. And this is used for a measuring tool. It is 10 inches long by 6 inches wide, and we'll show you how you're going to use this in one second. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we are going to preload our Unique in the Creek board. Now, the front of the board has numbers 1 to 12 in the middle of each of the row. Okay, the back of the board has our logo, our website, and Made in Canada. Now, on the back of the board, if you are selling wreaths, you can stick your logo sticker right onto the back, and that's really good advertising. We are going to preload the front, okay? So you want the numbers facing you. And to preload this board, we're going to preload it what we call closed. And to do that, what you're going to do is each set of holes has a little line in between them. That's to indicate that those 2 holes belong together. It's not saying that you can't use these ones in between if you're doing some other project. But for the Christmas tree we're doing today, we're going to be using each set of holes with the line through it. And now just going to give you a little tidbit on zip ties. This is an 18-pound zip tie. It's very thin. Usually like a 40-pound will be a lot thicker and the head will be bigger. And the 18-pound is quite a small head. This is all you need to make your wreath. Anything bigger is overkill, and actually sometimes is a hindrance because the heads are so big. These are 6.3 inches long. I would not use anything smaller than 6 inches. People do use 4 inches, but there's not a lot of space in between the board and the zip tie when you do it up with the 4-inch one. My preferred length is 8 inches. That way, if I have 8 inches on hand, I pretty much can do anything from, you know, a small wreath up to the ginormous wreaths that we do. So to work your zip tie, there is a flat part of your zip tie head. So have a look at your zip tie, and you'll see that there's a flat part. The tail needs to go into that flat part. So you're going to just push it through, and then you'll hear a little zipping sound, And when you hear that zip, it's going to lock. Okay, this is what we want. If you try and do it backwards, so if you try and do it on not the flat side, it's very, very hard to do. And B, if you end up doing it and you pull it, you will hear no zipping sound, and when you go to pull it open, it's just going to come right open. It's not going to lock. Okay, so when you're going down the hole and coming back up, if you keep a rule of thumb as the flat part of the zip tie is always facing the ceiling when you go in, or it's always facing the inside of the two holes. Meaning, so I'm going to go down, see how my flat side is in towards the center there. And you only have to do these a few times and you'll remember, you know, your flat side and your tail go together. So this is how we're going to load our board. You're going to go down one hole, back up the other. Okay, once you got that, you're going to put the tail through the zip tie head and just give it a couple pulls. You don't want to pull it very tight to the board. You want as much space as you can to work between the top of the zip tie and the board. Okay, I'll do it again. So we're going to do all these sets of holes. So you can do this, definitely do this sitting down with your feet up, maybe watching some TV, and just do it casually because it's quite monotonous. And if you plan on doing more than one wreath, you could probably load a couple of your boards at a time while you're watching a movie. Okay, so this is preloading closed. If you want to do it, there's several ways that you can put your zip ties in. A lot of people flip the board over and then just bend the zip tie and put it through like that, which is usually what I do when I'm not on camera. I tried to teach the proper way. Well, I guess there's not really a proper way, but the less confusing way. So you'd pop all these in. You could go all the way along, flip it over. This is where it kind of looks a bit confusing because you got zip tie pieces everywhere. And then you're just gonna zip, zip, and zip. And then we got some here. Okay, so you notice I'm only doing a few clicks until I hear it, and then I'm stopping. Okay, this is called preload closed. So what you're going to do right now is you're going to go and do all of these all the way up to row 1. Now row 1, you will see that there's 2 holes at the top that is divoted in. These are called our hanging holes, but we're going to use these as shared holes too, which means a shared hole means that we're going to put more than one zip tie piece into the hole here. So I'm going to still preload these 2 holes, and there's a little tiny line there that's very hard to see, but it's there. Okay, I'm going to preload, but I'm also going to, okay, so there it's preloaded. I'm also going to go and make a hanger with it. So what I'm going to do is the first divoted hole, I'm going to go from the back, go up, and then down the other one. Move that zip tie out of the way. You flip it over, and you're just going to do this up with a couple clicks again. Here you go. And then you're going to cut this zip tie tail off with your nippers. So these ones are really great because it gets right to the zip tie head, and snip that off. And it's good practice to have yourself a little bucket or container or a cup, whatever, to put your zip tie ends into so that you don't have a mess all over. So every time you cut your zip tie ends, throw them in your little bucket, and then you can just empty your bucket after you've done your wreath. Okay, so we've got our hanging, we got our 2 things. We're going to fill up the rest of the board. So what I'm going to let you guys do is go ahead, fill up all your board, and when you're done, press play and come back and we'll start cutting our mesh. Okay? Okay, so we're back, and your board should look like this. A complete chaos of zip ties. It looks complicated, but it really isn't. So if your board looks like this, you can now put it to the side, and if you flip it over, you can see if you've missed any holes, okay? It's probably easier looking at it this way than this way. So make sure you got all your holes. If you got all your holes, just put this to the side, because now we are going to cut our deco mesh. This is 10 inches wide, and it's a 10-yard roll. We need 65 pieces of 10 by 10 mesh. And I'm going to show you an easy way to cut your mesh, especially if you don't have a rotary mat or a cutting mat and a rotary cutter on hand. So you're going to get your little cardboard tool and open up your mesh. So 65 pieces is approximately 1 3/4 of a roll. Okay, so you're going to open your mesh. Okay, now what I do is when I roll it out, I want to make sure the curl is going up. It just makes it a lot easier when we are going to be flipping over our deco mesh to cut it. And you'll see what I mean in 2 seconds. You need your clothespins. And what you're going to do is you're going to take your piece of cardboard. Now, you want the long side, so it's a rectangle with the long side is 10 inches, and this is 6 inches. We want it to go long ways because we want 10 by 10 pieces. So what you're going to do is you're going to place it just flat on your table and flip it over just once, just like so. And then you're going to line up your edges and get your deco mesh as tight as you can to your board. So you just kind of pull it till it's tight, just like that. Okay, and you're going to put a clothespin on and clip these 2 pieces. Okay, and you're going to do the same for the bottom, just like that. And now, depending how sharp your scissors are, now these are brand new scissors. I had just opened them out of the pack, so they're pretty sharp. Is how much you could probably flip over. So I have 2 pieces now. So 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I'm going to try 10 pieces. Like I said, my scissors are quite sharp. If you do not think your scissors are that sharp, just go over maybe 6 or 8 times. I'm just going to take my little nipper there. I'm just going to put it on my mesh to hold the roll away. Now I'm going to take the clothespin off, and I'm going to pick up this whole piece of mesh here and put the clothespin right over all of it. Just to keep it clamped down, and I'm going to do the same for the bottom one, just like that. Now don't put it right near the edge because we're going to be cutting up the sides here, but first we want to cut our mesh roll, just right a straight line right up your mesh and move your roll away. So now what we're going to do is we're going to cut right up the edge, and to do this easier without cutting your little cutting tool in there is I just flatten the mesh down, and that gives it some space between the measuring tool that's in there and the end of the mesh. So you can start it, and once you got it started, just kind of lift it to make sure you went through all, and I did. And then I just like to, I don't know, I hold it up in the air, or you can put it on its side. But basically what you're doing is just cutting down the edge, okay? You can remove, oh, I missed a spot right here. You can remove your tool. Okay, don't let your clothespins let go yet. And you're going to do the same again. Get it started. Okay, and then lift it up to make sure you got all of them, and I have them all. And then you're just going to go straight down that crease. Okay, so when you take your clothespins off, you're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 pieces within a few minutes. Okay, we'll do that again. Now, again, you may have 6 pieces because you stopped at 6. That's totally up to you. It depends how sharp your scissors are. Again, just putting my long ways on top of the mesh. I'm going to flip it over. Put my clothespin on. And we're going to give it a flip again. So I got 2 pieces, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'll do 8 this time. Roll it along. Oh, got a sticker in here. What's that for? Take your clothespins off and put it around the whole piece there, and then we're going to again cut it, just cut it along the side here off the roll. Okay, push that aside, push it down a bit so we can get this started. So you're going to get your scissors right up in there. Okay. Once you're done cutting your mesh, you're going to bring your board back to your work surface. And to do this, you're going to want to use a flat surface. If you use a tablecloth, you may get, when you're rolling your mesh, you may get it caught with your tablecloth. I prefer using a flat surface with nothing on it, so just a table. And what you're going to do, it's a very, very simple process. You're going to take your 10 by 10 square, you're going to turn it into a diamond shape, and what you're going to do is you're going to take the bottom corner and you're just going to lightly roll it to the other corner. Now you don't want to do it too tight or too loose, so pick the way you're comfortable with and keep that consistency throughout the whole tree. Okay, so you don't want to have really tight ones. Now you can do it like this as long as you do all of them like this. So if you're rolling it up really, really skinny and tight like that, you want to make sure you do them all like that. There's no right or wrong way when doing this. There's just a consistent way, because you want your tree to look consistent through the whole thing. So I don't usually do mine that tight. I just do a lightly, about that you can put a finger in there. So you have a piece of mesh that looks like that. So you're just rolling it from corner to corner. Now what you're going to do is you're going to fold this mesh in half, okay? And I just like to make sure that the 2 corner ends are the same length. So if you just pinch up here, kind of press down, you can see that they're both about the same length, and you don't have to measure or anything, you can just eyeball it. Once you see it's the same length, you're going to take this curved part and you're going to put it, the curved part, into the zip tie. Now when you're doing the edge zip ties, so all the ones going up the sides, you want to angle them as they're going up the sides. So you do not want to put it straight in and then do the zip tie up, because you'll see that corner. What we want to do is we want to go in sideways like this and have it angled up, and then you're going to pull the zip tie nice and tight. And that's it. So that's our first petal. Now, as we add, we're going to do each row one at a time, and as we add each row, that row will start piling on top of it, and you will not see the zip tie, and you'll actually get volume as you go up and up. Okay, so let's do some more. Again, let's take your 10 by 10 piece. Okay, I have it curled up. Curled up means the deco mesh has a natural curl. It's plastic. So this would be curled down. So you can see how it's rolling down. And this would be curled up. It kind of looks like a U. For this particular petal that I'm using on this Christmas tree, I'm just using it as curl up. It's just a little easier. Again, I'm going to kind of put in a diamond, and from corner to corner, I'm just going to roll. Trying to roll the same tightness as I did the last one. Again, you're going to swing it up in the middle, and you can see this one is a little longer than this one, so I'm just going to adjust it a bit. And you just adjust it by moving this piece down and this piece up, and there we go. So again, I'm going to put this pinched piece into the next zip tie. Now when I put them in, I kind of push down on this part here, so it's not really bulky when we start putting on the rest of the leaves or petals. Okay, now you can cut your zip ties off as you go. So again, you're going to use your little nippers. You're going to go right down to the zip tie head and just squeeze, and that'll cut it off. Throw it in your little trash container. To save time, I put all my leaves in, or petals, if you want to call them petals, whatever they're called. I put them all in, and then I pick up my clipper and just snip, 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 snip all the way down the row. This just saves time because you're not stopping, picking up your tool, clipping, throwing it away. You do it all in one swoop and then throw them all away at once. So it's all up to you in how you want to do it. So again, curl up, just gonna roll. The whole Christmas tree is done just like this. It's very, very easy. There is more fancier ways, but this is the more beginner way, and it makes the most exquisite, beautiful, simple Christmas tree. Okay, so we're going to pull. Now sometimes I have old hands, and my old hands will have a little bit of arthritis in them. So sometimes I use a needle nose plier type of tool to pull my zip ties. They have little teeth in them. Any tool kit has them in. Run to your husband's shed and steal some. You can even buy needle nose pliers at the dollar store. But it just makes it easier for pulling your zip ties. Okay, once you're done that row, like I said, you can take your nippers now and pull your zip tie tight and get right down to the head of the zip tie and just snip it off. And you're going to do this for every row. So now we got all our zip ties, into the trash it goes, and our area is kept nice and clean. So I'm just going to keep it sideways like that and put them in as I'm going sideways. So again, we have a side one here, and we're going to go with the angle of the board. So you're going to roll it up, flip it, measure, stick it in. Now I'm not going to stick it in. See how if I stick it in straight, it's going this way? We want it to go out this way. So what you're going to do, and press down, pull your zip tie, and there we go. Now these will keep piling up and you will not see the board or any of the zip ties. Okay. So if you are like me and like to craft while you watch TV, if you get yourself a small like cutting board that you would use in the kitchen or something, you can put that on your lap and roll your petals on your lap and have these just on your side armrest thing and roll and stick it in, roll, stick it in. So you can actually, you don't have to stand at a table, or you can actually relax and enjoy this, because this is the whole Christmas tree until we get to the bow. So it's very, very simple. And you want to enjoy. So if you need to stop for a break, if your hands hurt, or if you got to go cook dinner, when you come back, it's still going to stay and be like this, and you'll know exactly where you've left off. It's very, very simple. So you do not have to do this all in one sitting. You can come back to it. We do have, like I had mentioned earlier, we do have different styles of petals for the Christmas tree. You can use different materials. I've used wool. I've used pieces of Christmas greenery for the whole thing, so it looks like an actual real Christmas tree. But to tell you the truth, this Deco Mesh Christmas tree is one of my favorites. There's a few tutorials. I have actually put lights in the Christmas tree, and you could do that once you get the hang of making a Christmas tree. You can find battery operated lights, and you just tape the lights to the board with Scotch tape, and then load your zip ties. And then as you're zipping in your petals, you're also zipping in the lights as well. And the tape is just there to hold them in place while you build your tree. And it is very pretty because the light hits the metallic glitter on the petals, and it's beautiful. I do sell battery operated lights with timers in them. So the timer lights, they stay on for 6 hours and go off for 18. So you can set them that they would come on at 6 p.m. and shut off at midnight, and then they turn back on the next day at 6 p.m. and turn themselves off again at midnight. So those are really, really clever. So you don't have to remember to turn your wreath off, because Lord knows we have enough things to remember in life. You don't have to remember your wreath. But it is really easy to do, and you can find quite a few tutorials on using the tree board, because it's not only, the triangle board not only makes Christmas trees, it makes all kinds of other stuff. Angels, gnomes, what else are we making? Obviously Christmas trees, country girls is popular right now. Watermelon slice, ice cream cone, you name it. Just go under the Unique in the Creek YouTube channel, go under the triangle board, and you will see all kinds of stuff. And there we go. So we got row two rows done already. Okay, so I'm gonna let you go here. What you're gonna do is continue on all the rest of the rows till you get to row 1. And once you're finished row 1, come back and press play, and we will go over making the topper for our Christmas tree bow. Just remember, keep your sides going to the slant. Okay, so we want our board to be covered. Okay, have fun, and we'll see you in a bit. Okay, we're back. So this is my Christmas tree finished. Is it not beautiful and sparkly? It's so pretty, like even just like this. But we're gonna make it a little more pretty and just a bit traditional. Now, sometimes I get these wonky ones up at the top, and with Deco Mesh has a mind of its own, and sometimes you do have to train it. So you might want to just go and tug on some of these if they look like they're maybe tucked in and the points aren't coming out, like this one. Now you don't want to tug too hard, because the more you tug, the more you'll have little tiny frays. And what I mean by frays is these little pieces sticking out. Now, once we are done our wreath, you can go around, and the best way to trim it is actually right on the door. So if you see any little frays or strings, you can cut it then up on the door. But when I put these two in, they're kind of sticking out all wonky. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of train them. I'm going to put them both down just like this. Now I'm not too worried from here up, because our bow is going to cover it. So I'm just going to, what should I put? I just put my phone while I'm making my bow. Train these guys to stay there. And I'm going to put my phone right on top while I'm making my bow. And that way, by the time I'm done, those pieces will stay in the spot I want them to. Okay, so now we're going to get our bow maker. And it's the Kids Bow Maker. And this is a product from Easy Bow. So Easy Bow has a kid's bow. It's a cute little bow maker. Now, if you are very crafty, you may know how to make a bow by hand. I'm not the greatest at making hand bows, so I do use a bow maker. Plus my hands get a bit sore from arthritis, so bow makers come in very handy. So with this one, it's very simple. You got a piece that has 2 pegs in it, and when you flip it over, you'll see this oval. What you're going to do is take those 2 prongs and just pop it through, just like that. Okay, and this measures 8 inches. So there's going to be 4 inches to the end of here and 4 inches to the end of here. So we're going to make a super simple bow. Like I said at the beginning, there's all kinds of different bows in this instruction booklet. So if you like making bows, you can give it a try. They're perfect for hair bows and stuff like that for the kids. Anyways, okay, so you're going to get your roll of ribbon. Okay, you take the plastic off your roll of ribbon and just put it in the trash. See, I have everything nice and neat. So when I go to finish, all I have to do is dump this into the garbage can. Okay, they fold the end of the ribbon all the time. I don't like the fold, so I cut it off. Okay. Now, you can make your bow as big or as small as you want. I think I'm going to go with just 4-inch loops, and that is from the center of the bow maker to the end of here. And I think I'm going to do maybe 8 loops, so 4 loops on each side. So what you're going to do, it doesn't matter which way you put your bow maker, you're going to take your ribbon. Now this ribbon, lucky for us, is double-sided, so we don't have to do all kinds of twists and stuff, and that's one of the reasons I actually picked this ribbon. When you have ribbon that doesn't have the pattern on both sides, you have to give it a little bit of a twist, and it's a little more complicated to make a bow with. So I kept with a very simple ribbon, and I'm right-handed, so I'm going to just put it to the right side of me. And the first thing you're going to do is I'm going to make my tails, I think 8 inches. Let's see. Oh, maybe even 16. So what I'm going to do is take the end of my ribbon, and that is 8 inches from here to here. So I'm just going to pinch it, and then I'm going to go from here to here. This piece is 16 inches long. Now, I'd rather have it long and cut it back shorter than have it too short and have to remake my bow again. So we're going to start out with a 16-inch piece, and what you're going to do is just pinch where that 16 inches, and where you pinched, you're just going to put it right down between these two little plastic dowels, okay? And this is going to be one of your ribbon tails, okay? So now what you're going to do, and because we don't have to twist, this is pretty easy. Let your ribbon go a little bit so you got some lax here. And you're just going to take your ribbon, fold it over, and just pinch and slide it right in the center. Now pull your ribbon loop until it hits the end of your bow maker there. There is one 4-inch loop. Okay? Now I'm gonna build my bow, so poof it up as I'm building it. So I'm going to, it's 4 inches, and I'm just going to move it up to the top. And then I'm going to do the same thing on this side. So I'm just going to have it lax, pinch it in the middle, put it down between the dowels, and then pull till it's at the 4 inches on this side. So again, just the end of the bow maker. Okay, so there's 2 loops, and we're going to do 4 on each side. So again, just pinch it, put it down through the dowel, pull it till the end, it's the end of the bow maker, and then I'm going to pull it to this corner. So you can see I'm starting to make an X here. And again, I'm just going to pull it, pinch it, slide it down, and then pull your ribbon to the end of the bow maker. Now, if you just wanted a simple, very, very simple bow, you got a 2-looped bow right here. We're going to do 4 loops. So we're going to keep going, and we're going to do the exact same thing. Pinch it, slide it down the dowel. I'm going to do them all 4 inches. As you're building your bow, if you want to make a bigger bow, you can do, say, 3 4-inch loops, and then you can do a couple 3-inch loops on top. Maybe that's what I'll do. So we got 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 4-inch loops. And now if I wanted to do a 3-inch, I would pinch, and you can't see it, but if you just bring it in just a little bit, you can see that this one is longer than this one. Okay? And it doesn't have to be perfect. When you put your bow on your tree, you will not realize if you're off like 1/8 of an inch or something. Okay, so there is a 4-looped bow, and you can keep going if you'd like. You have a lot of ribbon on this roll, so you have enough probably for 2 trees. This is a 10-yard roll. So again, I'm going to make another loop. I think that's good for now. And so I now actually have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which is great because I like to use odd numbers when wreathing. So, and now I'm just going to pull this down so we can cut the tail. So we'll just measure the 2 tails. Just like that, and cut it off. So now you still have quite a bit of ribbon left on your roll. And now you're going to take 2 zip ties. Okay, 2 of your zip ties. You're going to take 1 zip tie. Now make sure that that flat part of the zip tie head, when you slide it under your bow, is facing the ceiling, okay? Because we want to make sure that it does up. So before you slide your bow off your bow maker, I'm going to zip it and push it down just a little bit, and I'm going to slide it towards the prong, and then it's not too tight, but I'm confident enough that I can pull it off the bow maker. Okay, and you might want to just slide it over just a smidge so you make sure that your center, your zip tie is in the center of your bow, and you can pull it a little bit tighter. Now what we're going to do is you're going to hold, so pinch it because you want to bring this zip tie to the back. This is the back of the bow. Then you're going to take another zip tie, okay? Again, the flat part of the zip tie is going to be facing up towards the ceiling, and you're going to slide this underneath that zip tie there that you have around the center, just like so. And now do this one up nice and tight. Okay, take your nippers and cut that off. And now you can fluff your bow right now, or you can fluff it once you put it onto your Christmas tree. It's a little easier once you put it on your tree. But there's a really pretty bow. Very easy to do, and it's all ready to be zip tied onto the board. Now for the tails, a lot of people like that V shape. To get that V shape, all you have to do is take the end of your ribbon and you're going to fold it in half, just like so. And where you're going to cut is from the folded piece to the outside. And if you do that and open it up, you have the perfect V. So you don't need to try and actually cut a V out. Just fold it in half, cut from the half, or from where the folded is to the outside. And I'll do it again on this one. You can also just cut straight diagonal like this for your tails. You just want to make sure your tails are looked finished. So I like the dovetail. This is called dovetailing. I like to do that with my ribbons. So again, folded side to the outside, and there we go. So our bow is ready to go onto our Christmas tree. So we can put this away, and don't put it far because we have lots of ribbon left, so you can probably make another one. Well, you definitely can make another one. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to put our zip tie, and it's going to go in some shared holes here. So you're going to put one end, we'll put this end in, down through row number 1. It might be, you might have to push a bit hard there. Move the zip tie over there. If you just push the zip tie over, there is room for a zip tie in there. And then the other part, the tail of the zip tie, is going to go down there as well. Okay, and we're going to flip it over. And zip tie it nice and tight. Now this zip tie, you want to pull it, I might have tightened it too tight. You want to pull it so it is right by the hole here. And the reason, and then cut it off. The reason you want to do that is when you cut off your zip tie at the head, if you don't get it right at the head, there's a little bit of a sharp edge there. So we don't want that sharp edge sticking outwards that we are going to scratch our door. Okay. So now you can really fluff up your bow. Now if you put your fingers like scissors and just pull, it gives a little curl. You can also roll up your ribbon just like this, and then right to the top, and then when you pull it out, it gives it like a curly effect. That's really pretty. I'll do that on the other side too. So roll it all up, and then just take the corner and pull it out. So we got some pretty tails. I want to make sure these are facing outwards. And do your bow so you don't see any of your board. Okay, and now we're going to just add our sign to the middle here so it just hangs down a little bit. Okay, it's very lightweight. Okay, and it's got this jute string on it. We're going to leave it just like this, because what we're going to do is we're going to flip this over. Okay, and we're going to find the center of the board. So I think I want to start it because it will hang down. So if I hung it, so if I put a zip tie where the feather is, these two holes, even though there's a zip tie in there, we're going to use shared holes. So you're going to push the head of the zip tie through this hole, right where the feather is. And you want to make sure that the flat part of the zip tie is facing inwards. So push that in, and then you're going to put the other end in and then push it through just like that. And you will be able to see that through your mesh. There we go, right there. So what I'm going to do now is take my twine that is on the sign, and I'm going to put it in between. So I have my string is going in between the zip tie head and the zip tie tail, so that the string is actually going to be zip tied to the board. Just like that. Okay, you don't need to do it tight. I just did it. It's a bit loose. I'm just going to cut my tail off, and then you can tuck in these just like that, and then we'll fix our tails again. However you want to do it. You could even twist your tail and just put a little bit of hot glue so it stays. There's all kinds of ways you can do. There's a ton of bow tutorials out there. Okay, there's our cute little Christmas tree. And now we're just going to flip it over, and we got to make a hanger. I think I made a hanger on the other one. So I'm just going to go through. I might go through these two right here. So I think I'm going to go through these two. If you already made a hanger, perfect. If you didn't, and you have your bow on there already, just make one for between this hole and this hole. You can use twine. You can even use more ribbon and make a hanger to hang your tree from. But I'm just going to use a zip tie because I always have some available. So I'm not going to do it tight. And I keep losing my wire snippers. There they are. Just cut that zip tie off. There's your hanger. Very, very cute Christmas tree. Really easy. You can go to the dollar store or your local craft store and buy little miniature ornaments, and you can glue them on. You can put some berries on your tree if you'd like, or you can just keep it very, very simple like I have right here. Look how cute that is. So I hope you enjoyed this. You can find more of our tutorials on our YouTube channel at Unique in the Creek. And we have all kinds of different shapes and sizes of frames, and they're all just as easy as this one is to do. Thanks for joining me, and hope you have a great day. Bye now.